And let God, life, float you where you need to go, because we all know it doesn't work when we're paddling trying to save our lives. That's when we sink. So you get to relax.
Paddles up.
Release. Paddles up.
There is so many amazing things to say about Laurie, but one of the things that sticks out the most in my mind is how easy it is to work with her, to talk to her. She is just so, her spirit is so admirable, and just, you can tell that she really loves what she does. She really wants to help you. You feel like you can tell her what's going on, why you're not making the podcast happen, what is happening in the background. She really meets you where you're at, and she does not push you. She wants you to develop, but she does not push you. It's really all about, what do you really desire? And it's okay if you're scared of that. We can still do it anyways. And I love, love, love that about her.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Laurie.
John and Amy Meyer are authors and speakers. In fact, you both have your own books, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Thanks.
It's good to be here.
Yes, happy to be here.
For inviting us on, Laurie, to Interrupted. It's what a wonderful name.
Yeah, well, you had a big interruption, and we'll get to that. But let's start with what you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are authors. I'm also an artist, so I love to do that. I just sold a piece, which was so cool, this last summer it was at a Wyland gallery in Kauai. So that was amazing, which was shocking. I didn't think I'd even have a chance to get in there. And it was just the favor of God, and got in there, and the lady even put it up in the front window of the Wyland gallery. I'm like, what? It's just so cool. And it was a fun piece of the geckos. We have a big heart for Hawaii, for anybody that, I'm sure you're figuring that now, but and it was called Geckos on Vacation, and it had so much humor in it. They were doing the hot lava rock massage, and it was just funny, the geckos, the green geckos over there. And it's funny because she has pieces in there that are like 30 grand. I mean, it's crazy pieces from all over the world. And she goes, you know what? This piece is just what we need in here to just shift the atmosphere. I'm like, oh, okay, that's so cool. Authors, and we have such a huge passion we definitely content creators. So we have several different platforms speaking, whether it's into the spiritual communities or into leadership in the workplace, burnout in the workplace, burnout in the spiritual camp, into different things we're doing.
We met 25 years ago, so we've been married 25 years, almost 26. When we met, that's a story in and of itself, so maybe that's for another
maybe you'll come back.
Yeah, we can do it on relationships.
Started out where we both just love God. We weren't into religion. And I think most of humanity, they're fine with this Jesus, but they don't like the spiritualized Jesus or the religious Jesus.
The religious.
So we both love God. And then we happened to meet in a profound way in a bookstore that we weren't even looking for someone. We'd both given up on finding the mate thing, and we surrendered, and then we ran into each other at the bookstore. 6 months later, we were married. We sat in the bookstore for 2 hours and just talked about God and life.
Yeah.
Ever since that journey, though, prior to that, I had been doing ministry things and speaking and just traveling. And then when we met, we took off like a rocket and did all the ministry things. We were youth pastors, we were pastors, we were head of this and head of that.
Worship team, prophetic. I mean, all the different colors, all the different movements, all the... it's been a journey.
So along the way, though, Laurie, I think like yourself, we had the chance to chat a little bit, and you're on some of our calls on Sundays, is that we began to really see some breaches in the system. And that can go for any system, right? The corporate system, the education system, government. So we're seeing breaches all over the place. And there's a reason for that. And we started seeing, we look in the mirror and say, okay, I feel like there's something wrong with me, but I know that I'm listening to the internal compass, but there's something really wrong. The flashes, the light bulbs will go off, the red light on the dash, so to speak, constantly.
The duct tape is tearing off of the engine light. Like, oh no, I don't see it. I don't see it. Oh yeah, it's there. We got to deal with this.
Right.
We need to face it and go forward, right?
Yeah. So back in 2008, we had been in and out of Hawaii for the last 20 years, working in the corporate world as regional executives, mainly in the senior living world. And then we would be doing simultaneously, we'd be doing speaking engagements and things like that. I really was put on my heart to do a book called The Unforced Rhythms of Grace. And since then, I've changed that title to God's Orchestra. And really, it was speaking to humanity at large to say that, wait a minute, we are really musical people. We love music. She plays the piano, sings. And we felt like, wait a minute, there's more musicality to humanity than anything.
And it's a universal language. Like, there's something here underneath this. Let's dig into this.
So then I started writing about it as the God perspective, looking in on humanity as if we were all musical instruments. Talked about what would it be like if we were God's orchestra? Every single one of us, doesn't matter who we were, all man, woman, boy, or girl, doesn't matter what ethnicity, but we all had a part to play. And so then I started writing into that, and then things started popping. The light bulbs would go off, and we'd like, okay, wait a minute. This doesn't match the systems that we've been a part of because they don't serve the greater part of who we are.
Humanity either. It's just all such separate small groups fighting against each other, and we're like, wait a minute, that's not God's heart, And I mean, we are literal instruments with breath, like a flute. We're seeing it's a universal language, and it's like, okay, let's follow the cookie trail to the root of this. And I mean, I've heard it that God literally sung us forth as a composition, as musical notes, and it's like a chord progression of Him as the original note, and the Holy Spirit and Yeshua, Jesus, just one after another. We just kept popping out like a chord progression that's just continual and full looping around to where we are as an orchestra that is being called to come back together. That's humanity.
Humanity.
Not a church system, not a political system. It's like, let's get back to simplicity. I think that's
the origination of who we are.
So huge on everybody's heart. They're like, I'm done with the dog and pony show. I'm done with fake. I'm done with performance. I just need simplicity. I'm being drawn to nature. I'm being drawn back to music. I need to reset, I mean, there's just so much of that coming forward. And why is that? Where is it leading to?
I had an unusual encounter with God. I was really into the party life, and I had been doing that whole thing and then working my brains out. But I'd come to the end of the road of myself. I just thought, if this is all there is to life, I don't want to do this. This is way back, back in the early 90s. I had been raised in a quote unquote Christian home, but we just went to church on Easter, things like that. Christmas maybe. But I'd always been a believer in God, but it was a distant God. When I really cried out and I said, look, I need help. If you're there, I really need help. And in one moment of honesty, I was driving down the highway and my whole car flooded with this love I had never known, just a tangible love that you could cut with a knife. It was so thick. And I had this just eruption of excitement. It was an interruption, really, in my life. It was a road to Damascus kind of experience for those that know that language. It was a full stop encounter with this cloud of love in my car. And I was like, what is this? I started laughing hysterically. I just was full of joy. And I was like, wait a minute, this has to be God. This has to be. It's a God that I never felt in any kind of church building or anything. And then I thought, wow, I'm so excited. I want to go be with others that have the same experience. And then I joined a church. And then it kind of went like this from my experience.
Which is downhill because we can't see you.
Downhill. And I'm like, why? What's going on here? Since then, we've realized, looking at it from a higher perspective, what that is. It's an institution. And when you're in an institution, you have a really good chance of being incarcerated. It becomes incarceration. And there's only a one letter away from incarceration to incarnation. I had an incarnation experience where I felt the reality of my own authenticity being seen.
Yeah, home. You felt
Home. I felt like I went home in my car that day. I was like, I have to experience, I have to talk about this with everybody else.
You got to meet other people.
Meet other people. And then I would meet other Christians that had been in the church for a while, and they'd say, oh, yeah, settle down. You got too much zeal. You're going to be like us one day. And I'm like,
whoa.
I don't know if I want that.
No.
So
you start looking for the door. No.
Yeah. And not to say there wasn't great people. And we said this over and over again. There's very wonderful people in every system. It's just that that's the issue. We've built a system going all the way back to the breach, to the fall of mankind. We call it the breach, where ego was really made a choice. There was a choice for ego over that beautiful relationship. And so when ego entered in, you know the story, Laurie. It's the tower, it's the
edging God out.
Scaffolding, it's all the systems that are built, the corporations, the institutions that don't serve man to the highest good.
Yeah. God just wanted us walking in the garden with him.
Yeah.
Naming animals, smelling the flowers. He's all about delight. And that's like my own personal experience I had. I grew up in the church and went to Christian school, Foursquare, and was there Wednesday nights, Sunday nights. I was involved in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I had a really good youth pastor that talked about journaling and connecting with God. And so one day I'm like, you know what? Yeah, can I really hear God and stuff? And so I just one day I was journaling and I laid on my bed and I asked God if I just started talking in my thoughts to him. And then he answered back. And it was like I'd known him forever. And this is when I was a teenager. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We just started just talking back and forth. And he was sharing so much wisdom. So then I remembered the journal. So then I just started journaling, writing things down. And that union of just sweet relationship, letting him teach me, it was so priceless. And I'm so glad I had that, because when we got involved further into the religious system, I had a pretty good, decent church that I grew up in. Of course, I was a kid, we're not involved in all the politics of it, right? Till then we got married, got involved into the ministry politics of it and saw behind the scenes, but no. But anyway, without that, it's like it's like having the real helps you see the counterfeit of it. And that's what was so nice. If I hadn't had that relationship personally with him, I wouldn't have been able to taste what was in the system and say, ooh, no, that doesn't have God's love and his delight and his nature and his grace and the fruit and the flavor on it, like that I've experienced.
Yeah.
And so that really, really helped having that. And anybody can have that. You don't have to pray the sinner's prayer. That was something that was made by man as a good idea back in, it was just 150 years or something ago that they came up. No, it's just a heart. Just say, hey, God, are you there? I'd love to talk with you, and just start journaling. Tell him how you feel. He already knows you, know? And so it's just so much more simple. We're relational beings. Again, if you go back to, say, the Garden of Eden, if any of you guys know about that, I'm sure many of you do, in Genesis, he walked in nature. He wasn't stuck in some church on a pew having to listen to,
I think it's interesting because that's what John did. He said, are you there? And felt this incredible love. And then the fact that you have worked in corporate, you understand that, because I think sometimes that's the short-sightedness, is when people grow up in church, then it's what they know. And I love that you were able to look at that and go, wait a minute, because sometimes I think we get so caught up in being right. Oh, this has to be right. I think I prayed that. I need this to be the thing, God, that we get so caught up in that. And the fact that you did whatever it is, I'm sure you're going to tell us, was very brave, because you probably lost friends and loved ones. I don't know.
Yeah. The great interruption.
Yeah, the great eruption.
Yeah.
Wow.
More the
I'll tell you, it was brutal. It was brutal. To kind of give a snapshot, of course, we're given snapshots of a much larger story, but mankind went off the rails. There's a story in the Bible about the children of Israel, and it's in the Old Testament. They were enslaved for 450 years because of just some of the ideologies, and ego gets us enslaved a lot by our mindsets. Whether it's a job or a relationship, we just double down and say, no, I'm going to fix this thing. So imagine a group of people, over 1 million people doing that. Well, I can think of a group of people that's doing that right now, but I won't. I digress. Anyway, and God just said, look, I'm going to send someone in there to give them a message of my love. And it happened to be Moses. So Moses goes in there and says, basically, I'm paraphrasing in modern day vernacular, hey guys, this sucks. This isn't working. Okay. It's killing you. It's killing you. The loving God, not the God that we've all construed to be a wrath-filled God, but a loving God, wants to have some time with you. So let's go out to the wilderness. Let's go out to nature. Let's go back to nature to remind us of Eden, the place of origin, the place that you came from. Yeah. So let's go back out there and let's hang out with a loving God. Well, when you get conditioned to believe a certain way, generation after generation,
slavery
mindset, well, guess what you're going to do? You're going to want to go back to that because you're unfamiliar. And rationalize. You're going to be, and that's exactly what many people do in religion. We're afraid to leave it because we don't think that God may be out there and as good of God as we know him to be on the inside, because we have people over us telling us, if you leave this church, if you leave this synagogue, if you leave this temple, you're going to be in trouble with God. It's the greatest lie that's ever been told, is if you do this, we know in our heart what's God, don't we? Every person on the planet knows what's right inside. We've just been buried by conditioning. That's what it is. God calls them out there, and you know the story. If they go out to the wilderness, they're fed with this substance called manna, which is really, it's supposed to be a healthy substance for you that was daily provision. And they wanted to go back to the Botox injected food. They wanted to go back to
They wanted to trade. They're going to go back.
So they want to go back to like, hey, we want the steak and potatoes. This isn't working. That's the mind war that goes on internally, whether it's a job, whether it's a corporate system, whether it's a relationship. And you know you're not supposed to be in that relationship, right? But you keep doubling down because
it's familiar.
It's familiar, and it's the conditioning that says, look, if you leave this, it's not going to be any better.
Yeah. People calculate what they'll lose instead of what they'll gain most of the time.
Right. You talked about the corporate world. I've been an executive in the corporate world for, over 20 years, but then in management for about 35.
Yeah.
At many different levels. It's the same story in the corporate world.
Yeah.
You know that. It's like, okay, we have a top-down hierarchical system. It's a pyramid scheme. And we have to answer to the grand poobah at the top that says,
that's out of touch.
Yeah, it's out of touch with the little people. If you don't do it my way, you're out the door. I can't tell you how many high-level meetings I've been in upper management, and they're just like, get rid of them. Like, as if they're a piece of trash, get rid of them, get another one. We want to produce, sell. We want to produce. And if they don't, next. Same thing in the religious system.
Yeah.
If they speak up, they're a Jezebel. If they speak up, they're an Absalom. They want to take over the church.
Yeah, or they want my position. So we got to get rid of them. We got to move them out here. It's all about money. It's the old saying, right? Same bird, two different wings, like with politics and religion. And so it's still that same controlling structure that God never intended.
Never intended.
He's so relational, and we're relational, but it's the old thing, like even in the Old Testament where it said, we want a king, and then the prophet was like, yeah, but this is what's going to happen if you choose a king over just relationship, following God and just being free. They're going to do this to you, this tax you, all this going to take your women and children,
All the elements that you can see playing out in our government today, every one of them.
The fear element, and I think you talked about that on a Sunday, and I thought about this for a long time, is there are many people that stay because of fear of A, leadership, B, family, loss, everything will lose, and also fear of hell.
You can share a couple stories if you want about that. And I think it's important because there's some stuff coming out right now in the church. It's all over the news if anybody's been paying attention, and it's pretty bad. Don't need to go into details about that, but the bottom line is all systems are actually coming up.
Purged.
They're in dissolution mode right now in order what we call for Eden to rise, which Eden is an atmosphere of God's presence. It's synonymous with the kingdom that Jesus talked about.
The way of being.
It's the way of life. It's the way of being in the spirit. It's rising. It's nothing's going to stop it from being seen and known and throughout all of humanity. But this has to happen. The great purge, the great disillusion has to happen in order for that to be seen. So we've been saying this for years, decades really, about there's coming a time when our government is going to completely come apart so that we can go back to walking in the cool of the day and being provided for, not only by the tangibility of love's presence, God's presence, but going back to, like Acts chapter 2, where we had all things in common. But in order for that to happen, we ourselves have to become purged and deconditioned in order to see it ourselves. And that's what's happened to us.
What's happening.
And it's been, to be honest with you, Laurie, it's been really brutal because of the ego. And we don't realize just how strong that force is in the programming within us until we really take a good, long, hard look in the mirror and say, okay, it starts with the man or the woman in the mirror. And so we've been doing that for a long time. Has it been hard? Yes, but it's been so worth it. So worth it.
And in the midst of, the deconstructing, God has the new emerging, which is so awesome. And the mimic system, the world system, they love drama. So they're all into Armageddon. Oh, it's the end of the world. We're all going to die and all this kind of stuff. With big bang, something's going to happen, And God is... Look at creation. It's progressive. One changes out, another one moves in. While the deconstructing is going on and the purging and the dross coming up, he really does have new things he's installing, like for finances, new ways of being. Our hearts are peeling off all the old way of doing life and being so independent, and we're being open to want to have community again. There's new innovations coming up with gardening, electricity, all kinds of stuff to reset things back. The earth is resetting herself right now, and she's going through her whole delayering as well. Every structure that is not a mirror and true reflection of that love of God, of Eden's essence, so to speak. It's like we're being reset back to the factory settings of Eden, really, in earth. That's why everything else is just like discombobulating, So, but we are going to make it through, you guys. There's good. There's good, yes.
And that's the hope. And, the thing, you have hum over hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a musician, but I am an entrepreneur. That to me is like what I'm hearing. I'm just hearing with all the women, I work usually with older women. It's like, I'm done with the hustle. I got to trust God. I got to trust what I know. I think we've been fed, you said the great lie, that we have to work hard. And then people go, well, they want to excuse it. We do for what we love. We do work hard, but it's not hard because it's love. But I think it's easy to get caught up in that structure.
It is. It is. Because it's so ingrained in us, in society. And then we were told by mom and dad, I know I was, my dad worked his brains out, every day, 16, 18 hours a day. It's just instilled in us. And if we don't work, we don't eat, that whole thing, it's thrown on us.
You're not a man unless you grind. The more battle wounds, the better.
And how many artists have been thwarted by that?
They bought into the whole starving artist thing. I mean, all these lies, when again in your spirit, it's like, this is what I'm born to do. This will go. And people buy passion. They're buying you. It's your essence. It's your alignment, that whole thing. That's what they're really buying because they want a piece of that. So it's whatever you love to create, that's what they're drawn to, is the love you put into it, that you're infusing into it. John wrote a book about it, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually rewriting it because so much understanding and so much revelation has come since the first writing, but it's called Effortless Provision. It was about a 2-year-long encounter I had with Christ, meaning that whenever I would sit down, dictation would come through my hands. It was like they weren't my hands. It was like God's hands on top of mine, and I just typed away for 2 years, as I would sit down, and it was an encounter through the heart of humanity. And he took me on a journey through the 4 main arteries of the heart, And what it was in a nutshell, without giving it away, was he was teaching me about, and humanity, anybody, that the way of hard work it's like a badge of honor that we've placed upon society, especially in the Western nations. The harder you work, it's almost like it's this, we give them the trophy, give them the Heisman, give them the Super Bowl award because they worked the hardest, but it's killing us. In case anyone has not noticed, it's killing us. I
News
said,
alert.
God, I was like, God, why? This can't be you. You didn't design it this way, because whenever we're engaged in the spirit, or athletes call it the zone or the flow state.
Hi, I'm Laurie Hardy, and I help business owners go from frustration to ease when it comes to podcasting. If you're looking to boost your credibility and grow your business but feel overwhelmed by the process, I've got you covered. With over 30 years of experience in top radio markets, I know how to make your voice heard. My 7-day Podcast Pro program helps you move from scattered and unsure to confidently launching and maintaining a podcast that connects with your audience, builds your legacy. It's done with ease and minimal time. Plus, I'll share insider tips to help you rank in the top 5%.
Yeah, I was like, God, why? This can't be you. You didn't design it this way, because whenever we're engaged in the spirit, or athletes call it the zone or the flow state, there's effortlessness there.
Yeah.
Right? Or when you sit down to
sweet spot.
create something you really love doing, like Akiana. I don't know if you know who Akiana is, but she's a world-renowned artist.
Oh my God.
And
Prodigy.
she paints, she's a prodigy, yeah. She paints these phenomenal paintings. She started when she was young. And there was a documentary about her, and she said something really amazing in there. She said, I don't wait for inspiration. Inspiration waits for me on that canvas.
It's waiting for me. She
waiting
has
for
to
me.
get up and go meet it there.
She goes in there like 12 to 13 hours a day and becomes absolutely overtaken with this bliss.
She says she loses track of time. She starts like at 3 a.m. in the morning and just loses track of time. She's incredible. She had encounters when she was a little child of seeing heaven, seeing Christ. Oprah even had her on. Yeah. She's just so beautiful, such a beautiful spirit. She's probably she's 29?
She's 20 something now, but she said, she goes, it's not work for me when I sit down and do what I was born to do, but what I enjoy doing. And so in the book, Christ walked me through the artery of creativity. And it's one of the main arteries that he showed me about symbolically of the human heart. And one of them was the artery of creativity. And in that artery, we walked through, it was like a massive human artery. We were walking through this tunnel, and there was colors just beyond imagination, swirling around, swishing around. I'm like, what is that? And he goes, it's what you were designed to be and do. And one of the conversations we had is that when you engage this, it doesn't provide, it's not a money provider like you would think it would be. It's the frequency involved that actually draws the provision in, because you're engaged in the joy of the creativity. It's magnetic, right? It's magnetism. Started walking me through that, and I was like, oh, that makes sense, because anybody knows that when somebody's engaged in their mastery, and they, like a musician, for example, on a sidewalk, and they're really good, and everybody stops and listens, right? You want to lean in more and listen to their mastery because of what they're doing. And guess what? You open your wallet. Most of the time, right? If they have a CD there, or if they have a guitar case, you want to drop $1 in there.
Yeah, like I want to contribute. I want to be a part of this. So, whatever you're doing, I'm in,
That's magnetism because of their mastery. And the person's lost in their mastery, and they're not really thinking about money. It's when we think about money and provision, it puts up resistance, it puts up a wall, and it actually keeps the money at bay, because the money doesn't feel safe. Money is energy. So money doesn't feel safe to drop in on us when we're going, hey, please buy my album, please buy my art, please partake in my business, buy my product. Instead of receiving.
Welcoming it in, and just being worthy. Yeah.
Interesting how quantum physics and frequency works that way. But it absolutely is true, because we've tested this. Whenever we get in fear mode, whenever we get in begging mode,
the faucet just...
it dries up.
We hear this in business as entrepreneurs. If we come across desperate, like,
Yeah.
everyone's going to
It
be backing
repels.
away.
It turns out that there's real science behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's energy. Everything's energy. But
Yeah.
don't say that word in church. Oh, Lord.
Because you might be new age.
Yeah. I know, right?
I know. We're learning different language now. We just ignore the critics as much as possible. I have to be honest, sometimes I can't help it and I'll reply on a post because people are acting so ridiculous. I've learned something, though, to turn from being a fighter. In fact, recently, God really showed me something about the fight in me and said, you're a natural fighter because of your lineage, who you are.
Yeah.
But I'm turning the fight into a Edenic governance to where you're going to really live your life in leadership from rest and peace and play and joy. And that's been a real challenge for me to overcome because I was born and bred to hit the grindstone.
His dad was a Hell's Angel, rode with the Hell's Angel biker gang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's big, burly guy. But he gave his life back to God. Just in his truck semi one day, he said, God, I'm tired of being a failure to my family. And he instantly sobered up. His dad instantly changed. See, it's just so simple. It's relational and honesty.
Yeah. So that was it's really amazing what one moment of honesty can do. And so I think what we're going to start seeing, Laurie, even more so, most recently, about what was it, a year or two ago, I wrote another book called Authenticity Rising.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for humanity. I wrote the book for humanity. It really speaks to this authentic nature that we have. All of this fakery going on and all of these news bites and sound bites where we can't get to the truth of the matter. Mm-hmm. Authenticity is rising. People are very attracted to that.
Yeah. And where it's not working for people anymore, right? Trying to do everything the way they've been told, the motivational movement, all these different things that we were told, do this and this will work out for you. It's like, no, it's coming back to you being so honest with yourself and back to your authenticity, that is where everything clears and the magnetism happens. And it's where you're the most happy because you're not trying to be somebody, trying to get somebody, trying to say it right, trying to perform. You get to actually be the unique bloom that you are. I mean, we only have one. We're the only one with this fingerprint, and so we get to be us, and it's so beautiful.
The false matrix, we call it false matrix, the false systems, it's very anti to be authentic, and to do anything they can to stop that, right?
Yeah, sameness.
You see it all the time. Like, don't be too authentic. Don't be yourself, because then we can't control you.
There's just been so much secrecy. And I even think of the whole pornography problem. That's not safe to say you have it, because wouldn't you want to go to church and be able to get help, and yet you get judged?
Right.
And so I think that's when I hear you saying this, I feel you say rest, and I feel like this, I just relax, because it's like, it's been so hard, and people have not been able to be honest because they're just called sinners. Well, we all have things. It's like always qualifying, because we're trying to shift. There are people and things that are very dangerous to children. So yeah, we can forgive, but we don't put our children in jeopardy. And I think that's what I run up against. And then forgiveness doesn't mean you're going to invite them back into the home. It's not being dumb. It's not, having your own personal boundaries. And I think that all of that gets so blurred in the church.
It totally
and government, obviously.
When it should be the safest place on earth.
Yeah, you look at Christ. I mean, he was so restorative. His whole nature was always about restoring, somebody's blind eyesight, the woman that was caught in adultery. Look at his response. Okay, whoever's without sin, be the first one to throw a stone. And they all had to leave. And what is sin? I mean, sin is truly, it's believing a lie about yourself. That is the definition of sin. And it's when you're out of harmony, you're a bent note, out of harmony with your original design. That is the true definition of sin. It's not, you're smoking, you're coercing, you're doing all this stuff. Those are symptoms of the disconnect.
Of the disconnect. That's all it is.
Of just,
not doing what we were created for, not doing what we love. And as a coach, people would say, are you going to tell people to just go follow their dreams, And it's like, don't quit your day job. And it is really funny how there's such resistance to freedom. And I see that mostly in artists. in singers and artists. There's a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it kind of sets that scenario of, I am an entrepreneur, so I encourage entrepreneurs.
Sure.
But if I wasn't, I would hope I wouldn't discourage entrepreneurs.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And we're entrepreneurs as well. We love it. I was raised in that kind of household. And so
designers, like we've got a t-shirt line right now called Shouldy Designs. It's a play on, but it's all the shoulds. People are always, you should do that. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
You should.
Stop shooting on me.
I always say that. Don't shoot on me.
Yeah.
Don't shoot on me. And so we just designed a whole line of shirts and hoodies about
Shouldy
it.
hoodies. We got Janine got one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's shoodydesigns.com if anybody's interested. Just spell the word should and then put a Y on there. Shoodydesigns.com.
Yeah.
I am so going to get one.
Yeah.
Well,
We did that for a sense of awareness.
Yes.
You know, if you think about this, entrepreneurs really, if you go back to all the way to creation, and Jesus talked a lot about the children. He said, look, don't keep the children away from me, because you're keeping the very substance of the kingdom. You're trying to keep the substance of the kingdom away from the very aspect that I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you that you've been so full of knowledge, you've pumped yourself so full of programming. The kingdom is like childlikeness. It is childlike in the way that we play, in the way that you receive, and the way that you have joy unspeakable. The joy is your strength and internally. Yeah. And so we often look at our life and we're like, okay, we're not playing enough. If we get in our head, we just go, we're not playing enough. And entrepreneurs at heart, that's what it's about, because you want to play and create and design. And that's all fun. It's supposed to be fun, but somehow we get in our head and we go, oh, I made this thing. Now I have to find out how to get money for it. Instead of saying, hold on a minute, I'm just going to maybe display a video online with my creation and talk about how much I loved making this, and don't ask for a dime, and watch what happens. Because now you've entered into the frequency of receiving, and that starts drawing magnetically to that product and to your life. And when a person makes that shift and they're not so needy, that's when money shows up. And again, money is energy, and it will look at you and say, is that a safe person?
Do they feel worthy to receive me? I mean, it's like,
well, and when I think about it, being raised a Christian, you know, it's like, oh, money. And I had to learn to say, I love money and money loves me. Right. Not because I'm greedy, but because I had to change my mindset. That's because why would it want to come if I'm like, oh, money's bad, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like a person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, God showed me that about patience one day. He goes, I want you to picture patience as if they were a person. How would you treat patience? If it's a good thing for your life. If patience is a fruit of the Spirit, it's a good thing for your life. And you're sitting there saying, oh man, I wouldn't wish patience on anyone. Or what's the saying?
Don't pray for patience.
Yeah, don't pray for patience. Okay, well, what if it's a person?
Why not? You know, it's just, but again, it's the mindset in the church. Oh, this is going to happen to you. Something bad's going to happen to you. It's like, it's always something bad's going to happen. Yeah, it's like, just so much fear.
Yeah.
Oh,
what about creative patience, where you're not trying to count how many hours it's going to take in order for you to create a thing so you get X amount of dollars? Right. The creative patience is just like, man, I'm just going to enjoy doing this and make a decision to enjoy creating whatever it is that person's creating.
Then it becomes infectious.
Then it becomes infectious to everyone else. But if a person's sitting there painting and people can see that stress and that frustration.
Or you taste it in the food when they're creating.
Taste it in the food.
Oh my God.
Andy knows about that.
Restaurants where the chefs burn out.
You can taste it.
Here's the thing. What I heard you say, and I would love for you to say, I wish we could shift this mindset like right now. And I know that we can begin to, what is the process of beginning to rest, beginning to let go? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, but it definitely, it starts with allowing yourself to, and choosing and seeing rest as it's a dominance move in the spirit, like where, you know, because the mental says, oh, you don't have time to rest. You can't, you shouldn't, you should, you're not enough. You got to do all this other kind of stuff. And so you keep putting yourself aside. But when you choose, it's like a lion that chooses just to rest and recharge. And then because of that, it now has the strength for the kill or to get its supply or whatever. It's a power move in that sense. But it's, active rest, actually doing something you really enjoy. Again, it goes back to daydream.
Yeah,
put some soaking music on, some meditation music, whatever. You have some essential oils. Make it enjoyable.
Yeah, and then there's one level of rest, right? But then there's inspired action, which is another level of rest. So you can move in egoic action, and that's the grind and the hustle.
Yeah.
But if you move in spirit,
because you love it,
inspired action, what bubbles up, then you move and it's the flow state. And you could do it hour after hour after, and that is active rest. So there's two levels of that, right? You take the Sunday rest or whatever, you go to the beach and all that. But then when we're in flow, like this isn't work to us, Laurie. Us talking right here, this is active rest for us. And we're actually doing something, right? It's not work for us. It's not grind. It's not hustle. We live for this. We love it. If someone can get that in their mind and say, wait a minute, there's truth to that, then I need to just stop for a moment and stop the hustle and then say, let me take an assessment for a moment in my life and say, okay, where am I offering resistance by forcing my way?
Oh, getting more tired and more tired.
Where's the non-resistance? So it's all resistance and non-resistance. What feels light, what feels heavy. There's a lot of language for it. But what we've discovered is, okay, when we get up in the morning, we're like, what are we feeling in our spirit right now?
Follow the hum.
Follow the hum.
Follow the hum, not the hustle. That's the key, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just rest, stay in that flow, because you know what? You'll get a whole lot more done. It doesn't take long. A lot of times we think, I'm going to get behind if I go take a quick power nap. And it's like, no, you actually, and they've proven this in science, how much you will reset your whole nervous system. And it's when we actually lay down, we all know the feeling when we're just trying to get the idea, we're trying to get the name for a business, we're trying to get this, and it's just not coming because the energy, again, it's resistance, it's pushing. But the moment we go and we lay down and rest, all of a sudden it can drop in. And just lay there, let God hold you like a cocoon, and all of a sudden you come out transformed with just new colors, new ideas. It's really one of the best options. Trust snapping.
Trust snapping. Yeah. Trust snapping. That's a good way. There's a story about a minister, well-known minister years ago. He said he needed a lot of money. He had a huge bill. It was like $20,000 he needed like yesterday. And so he was just stressing over it, trying to manipulate how he could find the extra money and the extra hours to get it, like we do. He just heard this voice, God on the inside of him, say, go play golf. And he's like, what? You can't go play golf. I need to worry about this money. I need to worry about this bill. And God said, just try it. Just go do it. So he threw his golf, he loved to play golf. So threw his bag in the car. And he's out there having an active rest. He's going out there and having a blast. And the bill was met that day. It just came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So if we would just learn to be like the child and play more. Some people don't give themselves permission to play because they think they have to be serious.
Got to be responsible.
Be responsible. If I play, I'm not being responsible. Well, how about playing?
I'm lazy.
Playing in what you're creating. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that because they're in the grind.
That is so beautiful. Well, we're about out of time, but first of all, how can we find you?
Yeah, so they can find us on YouTube at just type in Hum Portal. All just one word. That's our handle there, Hum Portal.
Musicians always say hum like this, Hum Portal. Like most people go hum. You go, check the Hum Portal.
Feel it.
Yeah, feel it. And then Hum Portal on humportal.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Facebook too as well. You can find us on Dawn in Amy Meyer.
Yeah, or type in Hum Portal Community. We have a group there. It's just started. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram with the same type of handle, Hum Portal.
Okay, and you do 11 a.m. on Sunday on Facebook?
Yes, on Facebook.
11 a.m. Facebook.
Thank you, yes.
And why this is different for us now, if I could just say this real quick, Laurie,
Please.
is we've been doing these kind of things for years, but we had this major, which we'll talk about in another one, hopefully, a major download while we were in Kauai. And we're kind of restarting all over again with this new, we're really brand new
Eden
people
coming
inside.
online.
We've been transformed so much. And so now our message is all about Eden and getting the awareness out there to say, okay, what is Eden? How can we live and engaging it in that realm?
Awakening to your hum
awakening
inside.
to the harmonics.
That's part of it, the harmonics. Yes, we are. Yeah, we're also building a site right now called Harmonic Consulting because we have a huge heart about retuning the industry, business, because we all know what it's like when people are like misplaced, they're out of aligned. And so we really want to go in and help them retune and get back the harmony in their staff, in their business, know their theme, like, have you left your vision, where it's flat. And so, we love all that, the harmonic.
Well, before we go, I always ask, and I want you each to say this, what is it you really want us to know?
Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah. That no matter what life throws at you or tells you, you are loved beyond imagination.
Yes. And that you're going to be okay. You are going to be okay.
That's right. You're going to be okay. And we say that to each other a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. And it's okay. Here's another saying we say, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. No matter what you've been through, feel it to heal it.
Yeah. Witness it and release it. And then, we'd love to just paddles up. Let the current inside take you. Just surrender. Drop the resistance. Relax and release. And let God, life float you where you need to go, because we all know it doesn't work when we're paddling trying to save our lives. That's when we sink. So you get to relax.
Paddles up.
Release.
Paddles
up.
I love it.
We have a YouTube channel on that too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So much love.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.